Hello everyone, I'm Acting Sergeant Ken Rutherford. Rutherford is R-U-T-H-E-R-F-O-R-D. Okay. I'm here to talk about two collisions today. I will talk about the first one, answer questions in regards to that, and then we'll go on to talk about the second collision. The first collision we'll talk about is the collision that occurred on Thursday, April 25th, 2013 at approximately 11:05 a.m. A serious pedestrian collision occurred on Shawville Boulevard at Shawville Gate involving a toddler. A vehicle was traveling east on Shawville Gate approaching the Shawville Boulevard intersection, while a 31-year-old female was pushing her 2-year-old child in a stroller across Shawville Boulevard. The 70-year-old driver of the vehicle suffered what is believed to be a medical issue and lost control of the vehicle, striking the pedestrian, the mother, and the child. The female pedestrian was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. The child and the operator of the vehicle were transported to hospital with life-threatening injuries. On Friday, April 26, 2013, the child, Minaz Benish, 2 years old, was pronounced deceased. The male driver remains in hospital. His condition, it is my understanding, is improving, but we have not yet been able to speak to him. The CPS, Calgary Police Service Traffic Section, is continuing to investigate this collision, and if there are any witnesses, we still ask them to come forward and contact Sergeant Darren Wood at 403-567-4000. Are there any questions?
What type of vehicle was the gentleman driving?
My understanding is a Chevrolet. I do not know 100% for sure. I'm sorry, I was not at that collision, so I only have...
Was it a car or a truck? It was a car?
I do not know for sure. I'm sorry. Through the reports I saw Chevrolet, I recall. I do not know the condition of the mother. I'm sorry. I do have limited details in regards to this collision.
Vehicle strike anything else after it hit people?
Again, I have limited details. I believe it may have struck some trees, but I'm not 100% sure. I have spoken with the investigators that attended only briefly today.
Can you address how big of an issue drivers with medical issues are on Calgary roads?
Collisions involving medical conditions do happen. Through my experience in the traffic section, I have attended a few of them. I'd say maybe one every couple of years. And in the whole time, generally though, those collisions, when they have been fatal, it has been the person suffering from the medical condition. In my experience, I do recall one where it has been someone else other than the driver that has been killed.
Does this create some kind of a challenge when you have somebody in situations and you've got somebody was in medical distress? Does it create some challenges for the team to try and investigate an accident like this?
Every collision is a slight has challenges to investigate. Obviously, with one where there's medical issues, driver reactions might be different from what could be expected. So, trying to understand the evidence sometimes does take time.
The crash stats that we just got passed around to us show us that the numbers are up across the board. Is there a message that you want to get out to drivers and to people?
Okay. Involving collisions, never take stuff for granted. Safety systems in cars are getting better, but they cannot be relied upon. The drivers do have to take precautions themselves. Obviously, be aware of your surroundings, know what's going on, be aware of that, and same with pedestrians as well. When you're crossing the roads, you can't just assume vehicles will stop for you. You need to constantly evaluate that, even while you're crossing the road. If one car stops, you cannot assume everyone else will. You need to take precautions for your own safety. Calgary Police Service Traffic Section is investigating a fatal collision that occurred last night On Sunday, April 28th, 2013, at approximately 9:55 p.m., a collision involving a motor vehicle versus a pedestrian occurred on 90th Avenue and 19th Street Southwest. A 29-year-old female was driving in an orange Hyundai Accent in the left eastbound lane of 90th Avenue, approaching the intersection of 19th Street. A 65-year-old woman was crossing 90th Avenue southbound in the crosswalk on the west side of the intersection. This crosswalk is controlled by high visibility signage and lights, the pedestrian corridor lights. Preliminary information indicates that the lights were activated. While in the crosswalk, the pedestrian was struck by the Hyundai vehicle. She suffered fatal injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene. The victim has been identified as Wendy Turnbull, 65 years old, of Calgary. The driver of the Hyundai was detained but released without charges. The investigation is ongoing, and officers are working to determine whether speed or alcohol were factors in this collision. To date, in 2013, there's been 11 fatal collisions in Calgary, killing 11 people. 3 of those collisions involved pedestrians, and 4 have involved alcohol. Anyone with any information in regards to this collision is asked to please call the Calgary Police Service Traffic Section at 403-567-4000.
Was the driver injured in this incident, and did she have a breathalyzer done on her?
The driver was detained. My understanding is there were no injuries, and a approved screening device was used.
Are you checking your cell phone records? Do you think distracted driving may have played a role in this?
We have no indications of that so far, but that will be part of the investigation. Charges may be pending, depending on the investigation. There are several possible charges, from Traffic Safety Act to possibly criminal charges.
Were you actually at the scene?
Yes, I was.
What do you know, was the pedestrians wearing dark clothing or anything like that?
The pedestrian was wearing dark clothing.
Were there any witnesses or?
There were some. We are looking to speak. We have spoken to them, and any additional any witnesses who have not yet come forward are asked to please do so and contact police.
Did you have like 2 or 3 witnesses? I'm just thinking it's a fine stretch, so.
I believe 3. I'm not sure. I did not read any witness statements in regards to that or view numbers.
Have you spoken to the family?
Yes, we have.
Do you know what she was doing there? Walking, running?
She was crossing the road from at the scene. It looks like she was returning from shopping.
Sorry, and you said the lights were on in the crosswalk?
That's what the preliminary investigation has shown so far, but that investigation will continue.
So how frustrating is something like this, to see something like this happen when you have a pedestrian in a marked crosswalk with the lights on?
Well, any fatality is obviously very tragic. It is a little bit more frustrating when they are in a crosswalk. They are crossing, from all indications, how they should be crossing in that manner, and yet people are not slowing down or avoiding them, or just being aware of the situation and looking for them. But then safety, like I said, goes both ways. Both people have to be looking out for their own safety. Pedestrians need to be constantly evaluating things as they're crossing the road. When their cars are approaching, slow down, look at the drivers, see it, try and make eye contact to make sure they realize you're there. And drivers, watch for pedestrians. If it's a little kid, are they running along the road? Are they running towards the road? Watch out for those cues that might give you idea that this person is going to cross as well.
Any indication, I'm not thinking that people have a false sense of security if they're in a crosswalk and they've done everything right.
Yes, you need to constantly be aware of your own safety. And some people are very good about it, and some aren't. Driving around Calgary, you do see people that just step out, just driving around when you're not even involved, like not working. You can see it.
When the lights are activated, though, you're supposed to only be doing 30, is that correct in the zone?
Uh,
Lights are activated?
I do not know of the exact legislation in regards to that. I do not know of that. I have seen signs with that.
Sorry, can you clarify on the type of crosswalk? Is it the one where you press the button and you, or can you just explain the crosswalk?
Yes, it is the one where you have the pedestrian activated overhead flashing lights. It is not one where there's traffic signals controlling the intersection. It is just the overhead lights.
And do you know if she would have just started to cross, or was she almost finished crossing?
She was in the left eastbound lane, which is roughly halfway across the road from both sides, roughly.
You don't know how fast the driver was going?
At this time, no.